We're going to talk about how we can turn dirty water like this pond water into water that's safe enough to drink like this tap water. And to be safe enough to drink, it needs low levels of dissolved chemicals, it needs low levels of microorganisms, and it also needs a near neutral pH. And if it's got all of those three things, then it's safe enough to drink, and we say it is potable water. And our two main sources of potable water are fresh water, like this pond water. It also includes lakes and rivers. And the other main source of water is seawater, which is basically salt water. So we're going to look then now at how we can turn dirty water into clean, potable water. Out of the two water sources, it's far easier for the water companies to clean up fresh water compared to seawater, because there's a lot less dissolved substances in there. And the first stage of making that fresh water potable and drinkable is it's passed through screens. And passing it through screens removes large objects like twigs, branches and leaves. Then it's passed through sand filters. It's allowed to pass through beds of sand, and that filters the water and removes insoluble solids. And then there might still be some really fine particles of insoluble solids in the water, so it's allowed to settle out. And as those very fine particles settle out, then the water begins to clear. Then the water company has to kill the bacteria, and it does that by adding either chlorine or ozone, or even using UV light. And make sure in an exam you say it kills the bacteria, it doesn't remove the bacteria. And the last stage before the water gets to our homes is the water companies will adjust the pH to make it nearly pH 7. It's far more difficult to get potable water from seawater or salt water, and that's because of all those dissolved salts in the water. And the two main ways of doing this are simple distillation and reverse osmosis. So first I'll show you how the distillation method works. The way distillation works is we put the salt water in a flask and heat it up with a Bunsen burner. At this point, only the water evaporates and the salt gets left behind in the flask. So we get water vapour coming up the equipment here, and when it hits this cold condenser, which is being kept cold with water flowing around it, that water vapour will condense back into liquid water, and we get drops of water coming out at this end. And what we'd actually get is pure water coming out here, because all of the salt's been left behind in the flask. But the problem with this is it takes a long time to get just a small amount of water, but more importantly, it takes a lot of energy. So it's an expensive way of making seawater potable. The second way of getting potable water from seawater or salty water is to use a process called reverse osmosis. Well, you know from biology that normal osmosis involves the movement of water molecules from an area of high concentration of water molecules to a low concentration of water molecules across a semi-permeable membrane. Well, no surprise, in reverse osmosis, the water molecules move the other way, from an area of low concentration of water molecules, in other words, the seawater or the salt solution, to the potable water. And we achieve this by high pressure. So high pressure is used to squeeze the water molecules through the semi-permeable membrane from the seawater into the potable water. So they're going that way. And we can see that the salt particles can't fit through the semi-permeable membrane. Now, this is also an energy-rich process. It takes a lot of energy to produce the high pressure to force those water molecules through that semi-permeable membrane. So because of that high energy demand, it's also an expensive way of making seawater potable.